all of a sudden.
Oh no.
Oh, we're live. It didn't do our video.
How are we live? It's not even doing a thing yet.
I thought you were having trouble connecting to the internet.
Live viewer comment show. I mean, it says things that seem like we're live. Are we actually?
No, we are live.
It says we're live. And of course,
Weird Realities presents Blondes, Books, and Campfire Tales. In tonight's episode of Blondes, Books, and Campfire Tales, please listen to Bethany and Krystal as they something
Gather
about
around the campfire and enjoy a double stack s'more. We just still need to update that to include you because you're like 2 seasons in.
Okay, so and now since we're having all these issues, my friend was going to watch, and I just commented her name, hoping it'll tag her. And she'll see it. So let's just put all our tech issues up out in the front. Let's do it.
No, you're good. You're good. I think all of us have just had quite a day today.
Doing podcast.
Sorry.
Some people were like mad that we didn't let them know and stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, probably let them know.
Okay, so I'm like reading your guys' tags. So we got Krystal with all sleep and no play. And
yes.
Rick, what the
I like
hell?
my pasta spicy.
Yeah,
I do like my pasta spicy. Just saying.
Oh, like the arrabbiata.
I love a spicy meatball.
That was the thing I learned at Olive Garden. Arrabbiata. It was angry red.
Angry red.
That's what it means.
How do you say it?
Arrabbiata.
Arrabbiata. It's
like arrabbiata. Like the roll the R a little bit.
Yeah.
Arrabbiata.
Arrabbiata.
I can't do it.
Arrabbiata.
Neither can Grandma.
I'm like, I know my limitations.
It's basically a spicy marinara.
Yes.
And delicious. It's very good.
Yes.
Well, Rick, Krystal, and I were talking about how we have had quite the day.
Mm-hmm.
So we're seeing if you have had quite the day or if you've had a good day.
No, it's been quite the day.
Hey, great. That's super freaking awesome of you.
Yeah, I've got stuff to do that I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing it right now.
You're good. John and Stacy both say hi right there.
Hi. Welcome.
Yeah, well, welcome to Blondes, Books, and Campfire Tales.
We're starting off very blonde today.
Flawlessly.
It's a lifestyle choice. We're talking today about CreepyPasta. And for those of you who don't know, CreepyPasta is a site that came around. When did it come around?
I would say like mid-2000s.
Usually it causes videos to freeze. So like if there's stuff going on.
There's so many ads. I was telling someone that today. I was like, yeah, I tried to look up like a bunch of CreepyPasta stories, and all I got was just advertisements covering all of my screen everywhere.
So you can actually get on Kindle a little like book of a bunch of CreepyPasta stories.
Oh, nice.
So if I mean, maybe a little bit too late for your research for this episode, but in the future, there is a book on Amazon that like collected a bunch of the CreepyPasta stories.
Well, they would. I mean, it came. They kind of came out about the iPhone age. That was about the time when a lot more youth, in particular, had more options for instant filming. And so they can do Vines, they can do, a little, I mean, podcast wasn't really a thing then, but, they can do all sorts of stuff and had more options for that. So creativity will abound.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, I looked it up. Said CreepyPasta, this is from just an overview, it started in the late 2000s. It originated from, let's see, kind of like copy pasta type thing. Referring to short user-generated horror stories shared online. Let's see, the term is recent, and that's about it. So
what's not probably not actually linked, but kind of I can see that is you would have Tried True to the Twist, kind of the whole film stuff with the spaghetti westerns where they were constantly just pumping these things out, and it was kind of a western type thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, spaghetti western. CreepyPasta.
It's actually a really good outlet for people who like to write, and they can just post stuff and just kind of see how it goes, because there have been CreepyPasta stories turned into movies.
Yep.
So like it's very successful on that aspect right there.
Oh my gosh, the cat.
Not the cat.
The slow creep of the cat.
Exactly. It's not the Slender Man. It's the cat.
Yeah, I mean, well, and I think like with at least the ones that Rikki and I are doing, like that was kind of the whole, like they really did. They took on their life of a life of their own. Movies were made, and they really became like, they turned into like urban legends where people are actually telling, like where people are believing in these stories, and they're just like, oh no, I heard it from a friend of a friend, and it's like they just, you know, so it started as like this little internet known fiction story and just exploded into people are believing it just like any other urban legend, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
You know, like doing the whole Bloody Mary or whatever, you know, that sort of stuff. And
the Hook Man. Yeah.
Slender
Bloody
Man,
Fingers.
I think we talked about that before, where it was that case, or were we on a different podcast? I remember we talked about Slender Man, and
probably
we talked about Slender Man and that case on an episode of Murders, Mystery, and Mayhem.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that they're even taking on true crime stuff and people are acting out in relation to these stories.
Yeah.
So, which you got to wonder, like, as the creator of that story, as an author, whether it's a story or a movie or whatever, as the creator of that idea, I can't imagine what that feels like to be that person and know that other people have taken it and twisted it and turned it in a sense that they commit a crime in the name of it.
Oh,
that's gotta be horrible. I mean, yeah, especially if you're doing something that's like, haha, tongue in cheek, kind of, I'm doing the same for a paranormal thing or something, and haha, you know, and then
it was something they created for a contest, for an internet contest.
Exactly.
Which I don't want to take too much away from you, Rikki, because I know that's the one you're talking about. But this is a good segue right into your story.
Right. So Slender Man is a nondescript, featureless, pale figure. He's in a black suit, which, you know, has weirdly elongated limbs and stuff. Sometimes portrayed with tentacles. Apparently, the legend is those who seek to learn more about him often draw his unwanted attention. You know, he has developed some powers over the course of his life, where he's, you know, he can teleport directly to you, or he's hanging out kind of in the background of, you know, usually the woods, or just kind of, it works well in the woods because we got long trees and shadows and stuff, and kind of works really well. But and I guess he can also trigger in his victims like disorientation, paranoia, insanity, and sometimes nosebleeds. Attempting to film or record him rarely works, and basically it kind of all began in 2009 when the creator, Eric Victor Serge Knudsen, yeah, I know, weird name, or long name anyway, published some photoshopped images of this creature on the Something Awful internet website. And it was part of a paranormal pictures contest, but he would actually have eerie captions with his pictures that kind of portrayed the idea that, you know, he had abducted children and kind of pressed them into service against their will to do things, and like kill people or something like that, but in a way that was like they referenced it. You know, it's like, well, we didn't really want to do a thing, and we were like against the idea, but he was scary and also strangely comforting, you know, that sort of thing. It was just the idea of on the edge of creepy to it.
Yeah.
I know that it was picked up when I saw it first was on an Angry Hornets video type series where they did a whole bunch of different stuff. But Slenderman was kind of the big overarching meme villain or creepypasta villain, as it were. He wasn't really a villain per se. It was just, he was there, you know, kind of like a gray in the background, or, you know, just he was there. And then he started to, you know, they started developing kind of a story, backstory type thing, and making this whole, you know, thing about it. Then, you know, they incorporated other creatures, you know, like the rake and these weird hand things that would just kind of come up through everything. Just kind of, it was weird, but it was kind of cool to watch at the time, especially. Slenderman also, you know, engendered a computer game called Slender and the 8 Pages. That was in 2012. And I remember actually watching some friends playing that, and you would have these different pages that were around this woodsy area that you had to go around and find. And as you found them, you would increase the chances of coming across Slenderman, and he would become increasingly more aggressive, to the point where the whole point is to collect all 8 pages and avoid him to progress in the story. And the pages would have some sort of like little background into the concept of Slenderman, and what he's doing. But it's from a unreliable narrator, who's talking about being paranoid and stuff like that. And as that's happening, you're getting paranoid in the game. Your character is, as well as the creepiness atmosphere of how it is to create that effect for the player. Which at the time, there were a lot of games that were doing that sort of thing, including Resident Evil and some. It was a French one I remember that was just like bizarre, like everything was shattered and stuff like that. And then Minecraft, had their own version of that with the Enderman, which was directly, referencing Slenderman, in how they operate and such. You can't look at them or they start getting all weird out and they, beat you up and stuff like that. And the sounds of the sound effects that they would have were kind of similar to that too. There was a controversy that did pop up in 2014, kind of referenced as the Wakashia stabbing. Oh, Wakashia. I don't know.
I think. I don't know if that's correct, but.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's correct.
Oh, how to pronounce it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's probably not.
Probably not.
I don't know up to the fact that it's probably not how you pronounce it. But essentially, you had 2 girls who had lured a classmate, out to the woods. Yeah, the Blair Witch.
They did so good on the advertising for Blair Witch. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. But 2 girls had lured a classmate out into the woods and then stabbed them. They did survive, but they were under the impression that, or at least they stated that they were doing it to protect their family from the Slenderman and appease him. There was an HBO documentary in 2016 called Beware the Slenderman that covers that whole thing. Mm-hmm. And then, there's been other crimes and such that have been kind of attributed to this in the years afterwards. So there's also apparently going to be an upcoming movie on Screen Gems. I don't know what it's called, but probably Slenderman or something like it.
I think there's been a movie already too.
Or maybe I'm looking at old stuff.
There's a movie with Jessica Biel called The Tall Man.
No, but I feel like there's a Slender Man movie. Am I wrong? I might be wrong.
Probably not.
No, there was. In 2018, there was a Slender Man movie starring Joey King.
There we go.
Oh, okay. I meant probably not, as in you're not wrong. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Right. It's just I'm looking at older footage, older resource notes.
And that's and it's literally just called Slender Man, and it's on Prime Video. According to IMDb. So
yeah, I think the thing with Slender Man, I think that the thing that captivates people is how much people focusing on one thing turns it into a reality for others. And there's been many episodes that have that. Supernatural has done multiple episodes regarding that. Criminal Minds even had an episode that was similar to that was not like supernatural. It was just psychological. And people who see stuff online and they fully believe it and just it becomes their life and their world. That I think that's the appeal of the creepiness of Slender Man, is the fact that people will take everything that they read and just think that it's all real type thing, even though someone's making it up. It's a story.
Bro, keep them away from AI generated stuff.
I'll talk to Tom about AI. I just got a lecture today. Oh, Rachel said she's going to be right back. So I hope everything works out there, Rachel.
Yeah, that's something that needs immediate attention.
You know what? That's where Slenderman can come in handy, because he is really long and stuff. He can get in there and probably snake it out for you and stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't need plumbers. He can be his own snake.
Exactly. Oh my god.
Call Slenderman plumbers.
Right? You don't need to be afraid of Slender Man. Just have him come clean out your toilet.
Yeah, he just doesn't know the expectations.
As long as you get the expectations clear, everybody can be happy.
What if
your
all
long,
these
creepy tentacle arm to go see what's clogging my toilet, please?
Yeah, I mean, what if all these creatures are realistically trying to go for jobs and stuff, and all they know are plumbing because they all show up in the bathroom. Bloody
Right?
Maria,
You show up in the bathroom. I think that's where people just feel vulnerable.
I mean, maybe they're trying to be plumbers.
It could be.
It's just, and they just get so frustrated that their anger comes out, and they can't help that. They shouldn't be blamed for that, you guys. They just wanted to help you clog your toilet, and there was a or unclog your toilet, and there was a miscommunication. That's
okay. So Dungeon Dan says, one of my daughters was friends with the guys that created Slender Man. She would tell me all the new stuff being worked out. Needless to say, I could live the rest of my life never hearing about him again. Well, sorry about this episode.
Sorry.
Thank you for joining about him a little bit more today, but not from the creator. So, yeah.
Let's see. Stacy says the truly creepy part would be finding out what's clogging the toilet.
Yeah.
It's the aliens from was it Stephen King? The Indian or Native American Dreamcatcher?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a Stephen King book.
Yeah, Dreamcatcher.
Yeah, those little snake aliens that.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking more of like the X-Files episode of Tombs where he comes up through the toilet, like he can like squeeze his way through stuff.
So there's a Slender Man right there.
That, you know what? That is an episode that I still can't watch fully because he really creeps me out.
Hey.
Wow.
They did a good job with that one.
I don't even remember that episode.
I'm rewatching.
You're like, I can't watch it. And I'm like, oh, sure. I'm just going down and smile because I don't remember that one.
And I'm pretty sure that came out before Slenderman did.
Probably. Just
because
X-Files,
like
a
the original run of X-Files was definitely over by then because it was on early 90s.
Yeah.
For 10 seasons. So it would have ended like early 2000s at the latest.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. They're not exactly, original stuff. It's just kind of, try to take something and make your own out of it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can see on Supernatural and Grimm and from like all those episodes, they have takes based off of X-Files and a lot of their episodes, like their content and inspiration from it. But that's what's kind of cool is you get inspired by something which creates something else.
Yeah, well, I mean, Buffy, the silent,
exactly.
The dudes, I think it was called Shush.
Slender Man wouldn't need plumbing tools to unclog the toilet. Use them long, slender arms.
Yep, that was the whole point.
Yep. He's just going to be a plumber.
He has different tentacles of different lengths for snaking different parts of the drain and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, if I could draw, I would totally do that. Just like a Slender Man, and like he'll have like in one hand like a plunger, and in another hand a snake, and just like all the different like plumber's tools and all his different tentacles. It's like
the blue collar male Medusa right there.
Yeah, like is your toilet clogged? Give me a call, and he just has like all the plumbing stuff.
Wait a minute. Okay, yeah. So Mario, Luigi, and Slenderman as a creepy pasta.
Mario's like, how do I have this conversation with this employee? Please stop killing our customers.
Right?
This is an HR complaint.
Children, just unclog the toilet.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he's the only one that in the real world being represented because the other two plumbers are in, like Toad realm or something.
Yeah.
Nintendo World.
Yeah.
Nintendo World.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, Slender Man, I think, is probably the number one most recognized story from based off of the creepypasta idea and theorem.
Yeah.
Did you have another one, Rick, or was that the one you're talking about?
No, that was
okay. I kind of forgot who all we were talking about, so I'm like, we'll just.
There's a lot, and where it was like, pick something. I'm like, I'll do this one.
Yeah, there is a lot, and they actually have a section on their website, like famous creepypasta stories. So creepypasta, I kind of like the concept of it. I haven't had a chance to like check out the website too much and read too much of it. Before creepypasta, just like a little shout out. when I was in high school, so in the late 90s, we had our internet class, our computer class, where we learned like HTML and all that stuff, and we were creating websites. There's a website that's actually still up today called castleofspirits.com. And I feel like
I remember Castle of Spirits.
Yes, that was like creepypasta before creepypasta.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like.
Yeah.
So, but
like
it's
people
still
were
up.
posting like ghost stories on there.
Yeah, and they were fascinating. They were really, really cool stories. Now, creepypasta, I think, just enhanced on that and became popular. The other fun kind of shout out, which I don't know if you guys know, there's a series on Audible called Tales from the Gas Station. And I love this series. And it says it's narrated by Mr. Creepypasta. I don't know if this is in relation to the website, or if the guy just goes by like that's his name as his professional narration name of Mr.
Yes, that
Creepypasta.
I've actually seen him at the Phoenix Fan Fusion. Back when it was Phoenix Comic Con, probably about a decade ago. I did attend a panel on that.
Oh,
So,
did it kind of say like if he was associated with the site, or was he just separate?
He was at the time. It was like, oh hey, it's the whole creepypasta thing and stuff like that. What is? I remember that from Angry Hornets, and the Slenderman thing, and stuff. That was about it. But I think that brought out the. You stemmed a whole lot of things from there, like the SCP Foundation and stuff like that. But I think I know what you're talking about. It's audio. There's no. There'll be like a picture or something, but it's not really going to be. You're not watching anything. It's just background story, right? And it's a narration of stuff.
Well, it's on Audible.
Well,
where you listen to audiobooks. So yeah,
Okay.
it's visual.
All right.
It is audio.
Yeah. But the series is called Tales from a Gas Station. And it's this guy who literally just works at the gas station, but so many supernatural things happen at the gas station. And he's just trying to go to work and do his job. And there'll be like, he'll go out in the backyard and there's hands growing from the ground, which is what made me think of the Slenderman thing.
Right.
And there's like, it goes into so many different, I think there's 4 of them out right now. And it's really, Debbie says we're all nuts.
We are. But actually, what's funny is I do want to call attention to Dungeon Dan's post.
Yeah, Dungeon Dan's comment right there.
Yeah, the Lighthouse Horror Stories on YouTube. I think that's what I was referencing.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's similar in format to what you're talking about, where it's like, I work at this gas station or I work at this hotel, and there are 5 rules that I have to follow, blah, 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 that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's always this paranormal crap that's just going on. And, some of it's just more creepy than others.
Mm-hmm. See, why can't we find drugs like that?
Sounds like a fun series.
What, Krystal?
I don't have Audible, but that sounds like a fun series.
YouTube. Look at the Lighthouse Horror series. There's several kind of knockoff versions of that, or different versions. But yeah.
Yeah.
I'll sometimes listen to it while I'm gaming.
Yeah.
See, I will do it while I'm doing like truck shipment.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll
we
still
all have our
deliver.
things that like where we're listening to our things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
All right. So, Krystal, what stories do you have?
So mine actually, the first time I ever heard it or was made aware of this creepypasta story, speaking of how they take on their own life, it was presented to me as an urban legend, as a real story. And if I had been told all the detail that's actually in the creepypasta story, it would have, there's a certain point where you're like, oh yeah, this is fake. But it starts out so real that for the first half of the story, it's super believable. So mine is the Russian sleep experiment. So yeah. So the way it was told to me initially is back in the 1940s, the Russians took some prisoners of war and decided to do an experiment on what would happen if people didn't get sleep for 30 days. So they took 5 people and they put them in a chamber with a gas that in too large of a dose can be toxic, but in the right dose will just keep you awake. So they're in there, they're trapped in there, provided enough food for 30 days, and they have like 5-inch thick portholes to watch, and they have microphones in there because, like CCTV not a thing back in the 40s. Experimenting on prisoners of war definitely was, though. So that's why this is all sounding super believable so far. So after sounds like a horrible job, Dan. So with the first 5 days, everything seems pretty normal, but as time goes on, the participants in the experiment keep talking. They start bringing up the tragedies of their life, which I'm like, honestly, that makes sense to me. If you're stuck in a room with 4 other people and you're going to be stuck there for a while, eventually conversation is going to come around to all the crap you went through in life. So all this is pretty normal. But then as time starts going on, and I think around day 9, one of the participants just starts screaming like nonstop for hours. And the participants, the prisoners, take pages from books that were left in there for them to read and their feces and smear them over all the portholes so they can no longer see in. And they stop talking so they can't hear anything. So after a few more days, the experimenters come in and basically, I'm going to tell you how I heard it first, but basically there was cannibalism going on and craziness, and they had to shut down the experiment, blah, blah, blah. That's how I first heard it. And I was like, oh, what? Because in that version, absolutely insane, but plausible, right? But in the full CreepyPasta version, when they open it up, I believe one of them is dead. All of them are missing chunks of skin, like their skin and their muscles have just been ripped open. You can see the interior of their torsos, every single one of them. Ew. And they all still have their heart and lungs, like all the stuff that's inside the rib cage up, but everything that's below the rib cage, all their organs have been spread around. And this is, to me, I'm like, well, how are their heart and lungs staying in place if their intestines and stomach are out on the ground?
Yeah.
That's my first thing. Why? There's nothing holding the other organs up now. So why would they be in place? And then supposedly also, everybody, like, it's just the one person that's dead, and the researchers can see their digestive organs actually digesting, like doing things, like all their stomachs and intestines that are all out on the ground. They can see that they're actively digesting. So what they end up figuring out is that they were just tearing off chunks of their own skin and eating it because none of the food had been touched past day 5, the food that was left there for them. Or, yeah, heart and lungs stayed in place out of spite. That's the only thing that would keep them there. So they could see them digesting, and they did try to put them back together, kind of, but they all fought it. The moment any of them went back to sleep, they died. And then, and they all just wanted more of the gas, and they wanted to never sleep again, which the moment they got put to sleep, and they all had like insane amounts of strength and were fighting the soldiers and the researchers. And it's like, and when podcast that I was listening to that was talking about it, I think it was Brohio podcast. They were talking about it, and they're like, you use your stomach muscles to do everything. They're expecting us to think that people that have no stomach muscles because they've ripped them off and eaten them have the strength to fight people. And I'm just like, that's so true. Like, you literally use your stomach muscles for everything. If you don't have stomach muscles, how are you going to do anything? So yeah, obviously it gets to a point where it's unbelievable. But the way it was first presented to me didn't have all the like gruesome, gory details. And it's just like, well, of course the Russians were doing that during World War II. Why wouldn't they be? You know? Like, twisted Humpty Dumpty story.
They couldn't put them back together again.
No, they really couldn't, right?
Yeah. I just haven't slept a lot in the last 24 hours. That's all.
So aside from the trauma of lost blood and stuff, I mean,
Well, plus they're like,
yeah.
and like all their organs were just like in a pile on the floor. Oh, and they were using chunks of the dead person to clog up the drain. So there was like 4 inches of water and bodily fluids covering the floor because they didn't want anything to go. So yeah, it's just like, I mean, but I thought it would be fun for us to talk about some of the things that happen to your body when you don't sleep. So really things start going off the border after 5 days in the story. So the mental effects after 5 days of no sleep: hallucinations and delusions, disordered thinking, mood changes, psychosis, memory problems, and impaired judgment. Which I think from this story, yeah, they were showing a lot of those effects. The physical effects are extreme fatigue, microsleeps, increased risk of accidents, increased risk of illness, and metabolic issues. So it can cause issues with like blood sugar regulation.
I was going to say your intestines on the floor is definitely a metabolic issue.
Right? It really is. It really is. Just have them stretched out along the floor, just watching the chunks of your meat go through.
You look at Freddy Fazbear's, don't you?
But I mean, yeah, think about it. Think about when any of us don't get enough sleep and we're going to work or we're trying to do something and you have that brain fog, you don't quite think things through, you're not sure what's happening. But then we all kind of reach that level where you're almost at like a clarity and you're like amped up. It's like your second wind and you're like, whoa, and you think you know everything and you really know nothing because you're so tired. So
yeah, but and during that second wind, like you feel like you can do anything, like you feel more alert, you feel physically like let's go, but it doesn't last for long, and then by the time that's over, you're even more exhausted. And
so, so I do remember there was a rapper who was doing a stage performance at one point, just back to back, and he was not getting obviously enough sleep. And he was just kind of going with just, caffeine and sugar. And he hit the stage and then just out.
Yeah.
That was one performance. Yeah, he was like, he's done. And then there was a guy who was a salesman or a call center type dude. And his pitch was he wasn't going to sleep until they reached a certain number of dollar thing or something like that. And so he was going days. I think 3 days. And if I remember correctly, he had some major medical things or may have even died from it. But it was medically not cool. So,
not cool.
Well, I mean,
I know. I feel like that's a very accurate description.
Yeah.
It might not be very technical description, but I feel like it's very accurate. Your body does, like, eventually it just gives up. Like, we need that rest. We need that time to reset. And if you don't get it, I mean, you might not start ripping off your skin and eating yourself, but
all this talk is making me yawn so much. I'm sorry.
Like, we're talking, like,
I'm like over here about to fall asleep because we're just.
I'm watching the Sandman series, so I mean.
Bethany's just like, well, we're talking about sleep, so now
I know. I'm like, oh, I'm about to fall asleep. Okay, I googled it because I wanted to know how many days you can go without sleep, like generally. And it goes, the longest recorded period of time a person's gone without sleep is 11 days, so 264 hours.
Yep.
This was a dude in 1964, and he goes, however, it is not recommended to do this.
I think he was trying to break the world record, is why he did it. And I'm like, I don't feel like that's enough reason to not sleep for 11 days.
World records are just man-made things.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. He probably could have stayed awake for 6 days and beaten a record. I don't know.
Or make sure nobody ever beats him.
He had to make a point or something. It's that testosterone.
And then, but there are several movies that have been made on this one. Well, there was one that was started in 2018. It was released in November 2022, but this doesn't tell me the name of it, the name of the movie.
Great marketing there.
Right? And then there was another one that came out that actually came out in 2018, just called The Soviet Sleep Experiment. Chris Kattan is in that one. And then I believe that there was a book as well. Like somebody wrote a novel. Oh yeah, there was a novel that was written in 2015, but it's out of print.
So either the movie is not named or the book is out of print. I
know. Well, the one that began in 2018 and was released in 2022, it was directed by John Farley.
Oh.
So, and then a second novel was written by author Jeremy Bates in 2019 called The Sleep Experiment.
Okay.
So there are some out there that you can see. You can watch the Soviet Sleep Experiment. You might be able to find John Farley's movie that nobody wants to name. And you can read the book, The Sleep Experiment. And just like the other creepypastas, because creepypasta is very big about like having photos, this is the photo that went along with the original short story.
Right. Yeah. Actually, I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, and I think that really goes into like with just creepypastas, like they really do start with something that's either already believable or which, you know, like the Russians doing an experiment on prisoners of war in the 40s, 100% believable. Or just things that we're already prone to believe, like with Slender Man, that goes along very much with the legends we've grown up with, like Bloody Mary or the Boogeyman or the Blair Witch. Like, you know, it goes along with those things that we've already pretty much kind of believed in as young kids. And so it just ties in so easily. And I do think that that's one of the really fun things about creepypastas. But they always get to a point where it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, these people were fighting people while their intestines were on the floor and they had no ab muscles. But they were like killing soldiers while all their organs were out on the ground or somehow magically floating inside their rib cage.
Did you? Well, I was going to say earlier, but you kind of glossed over it a bit. Rocket Man, Disney, 1997, features a comedy type thing of this dude he's a geeky dude who just takes up space, but he's wanting to be this astronaut. And one of the scenes is him in this isolation chamber, and you know, for I don't know, 2 or 3 days or something like that, and not technically without sleep, but when they finally, you know, when people are coming out, they're just like, oh, you know, dazed or like, oh, or like it's bothering them and stuff. But for him, he'd taken his socks. He'd been doing like sock puppet movies and stuff. And he's like, can you close the door for a little bit more? So,
he's got to finish the movie.
Like, they're like, we no longer want to be rescued. When he's just like, yeah, no, I want to stay in here.
Like, I'm fine. I'm totally fine. Krystal, I found the movie. It's actually just called The Sleep Experiment.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably why.
I'm like, it literally, I was looking at 2 different articles and it kept referencing that movie without actually giving a title. And I'm like, I mean, it would make sense that that's the title, but without them telling me that.
Yeah. Some of the comments are not as smart or clever as it thinks it is. But they go, a fine movie, but a bad creepypasta interpretation type thing.
Yeah.
So
I feel like it. Oh, and to give some of the history of when it was posted, it was originally posted in August of 2010. The username on creepypasta who posted it was Orange Soda. That was their name. But I do think that there's, and here's another, I feel like everybody knows this photo. This is another one of the photos from the original story.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't like that one.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know how well you can see it. There we go.
There you go. Yep.
There we go.
There.
Smiling.
One of the subjects when they were found with their skin torn off. Although I feel like the story goes into way more description, and that would be a good looking subject based on how far it goes. Yeah, but I think to an extent it is good for interpretation into a movie, but it gets to a point where you just have these destroyed bodies attacking soldiers, and then it just kind of ends. So I feel like wrapping it up would be really difficult in movie format.
I think they kind of did they can hear other voices in there, and they weren't sure if it was coming from the victims that were in there or not. And maybe it was opening up, maybe demonic elements and something, and maybe those were possessed or demons or something. Yeah, mm-hmm. I mean, I think that was kind of the takeaway I had when I was listening to it. Granted, I wasn't watching it; it's in the background while I'm doing something else.
Yeah.
But if I remember correctly, the something awful kind of it hasn't really morphed into, but now there's cursed images because now you got AI versions of computer generated imagery and such that have gotten better, but still now is more on the creepier psychological otherness. Whereas before, they couldn't get anything right, and so you had horrid images just out there, and such. And that in itself is kind of like a creepypasta. So,
Okay, talking about the AI images and the cursed AI, I just started thinking of how, I don't know why, but this was a trend for just a hot minute where they'd have an animal, a cute animal, or no, it would be food that would turn into an animal. So there was ice cream and it turned into cats, or there was cheeseburgers that turned into raccoons, or some crazy stuff. And I could just imagine an AI morph of what is happening to the subjects in this story. So they start as normal, and then they go to that creepypasta weird skinned person, and then just all of a sudden they're just there with their intestines on the floor and their heart and lungs floating around. That's just kind of what I'm imagining in my head. That doesn't need to be a movie. It could just be a super crazy cursed AI animation that
that's your
would add to Stacy's nightmares. So,
all right. Yeah. So the next movie is no. I do like the fact that Bethany and I are following along with what Dungeon Dan just.
Sorry, we weren't trying to interrupt you, Krystal, but Dan posted this.
I didn't see it after I drank the stuff, and I see that, and then of course Bethany's doing the same.
Yeah, because you guys know I can't see. Because if I see the comments as they come live, I look like a ghost.
No, you're totally fine.
So I only see the comments that Bethany puts up on the screen.
Which is most of the time, it's most of the comments. I try to keep it kind of relevant to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Thank God, and I never will have seen Two Girls, One Cup. But I feel like Two Cups and One Rikki sounds much more pleasing to watch from what limited information I have.
As his sister, I'm okay with not watching that either.
He's got it.
Oh, good.
Nope, he spilled. He failed.
That's the finale of the show, guys. No.
All right. So, what is your creepypasta today, Bethany?
I
know you told us and I forgot.
Huh?
You told us and I forgot. So I apologize.
Yeah, Krystal does.
Yeah.
For mine, I'm not as in depth on mine because I just really like the story, so that's why I have two of them.
Okay.
The first one I have is the elevator game, and that one was that one was actually turned into a movie as well. I just watched the movie not too long ago, so I was like, oh, it's the movie, and then I was like, it's just what I expected from a creepypasta story interpretation.
I feel like we should play the elevator game.
Yeah, okay.
Neither one of you seems very into that idea.
What the elevator game is it kind of starts out where this group of friends goes on this elevator and they have like this like sheet of paper. It has to be a certain elevator. I think it's a certain building, a certain elevator that you have to go into.
I don't think it has to be a specific building, but it needs to have enough floors to work.
Yeah, to like do it and stuff.
Like you couldn't do a three-story building.
Yeah. In the movie, it had to be a specific hotel, but in the CreepyPasta story, I didn't check to see if it had to be a specific hotel or just, like you said, any elevator game. But basically what it is you have to do a certain order of the floors. So you get in, you press a certain order of the floors that it goes to, and then at certain times you have to like close your eyes. And at one point you close your eyes because the doors are going to open and she is going to step on the elevator with you. And you don't want to look at her at all.
Whoever she is.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't acknowledge her. You can't look at her. You can't interact with her.
Exactly. And you have to wait for her to leave. And then you have to complete the elevator game. And the story is that obviously at the very beginning, they do not complete the elevator game and they acknowledge the girl and then everybody dies or they go missing or whatever.
In the movie? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in the story too, because then it kind of picks up where the brother of the girl is trying to figure out what happened to her, of one of the girls from the original group, I think. And so then he does the elevator game and it's his story of going into the dimension. It's almost like an alternate reality.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't know if it's his sister or if it's the girl that we're talking about or just like
because he's not looking or acknowledging.
Exactly. But he goes into this realm because he steps off the elevator at one point because he thinks he sees his sister. And then it's more of him just trying to, or maybe it's the original person. They're trying to find their way back to the elevator. And that's the issue is you're now in another alternate reality or a different realm and you have to come back to the elevator and no one knows the instructions for that because no one's been able to do that yet.
Well, there's my glowing screen is no, but these are the rules. You have to play alone, which that can change.
Yeah.
But it has to be a small group. Building has to be at least 10 stories high, and the elevator has to be able to go to all 10 floors consecutively. Sneak to no one. If anyone joins you, do not complete the game. Stop immediately and leave the building. There's one exception, the 5th floor, if it stops on the 5th floor, which is where the lady would potentially come in.
Yeah. Dungeon Dan says, can't look at her, can't speak to her, can't acknowledge her. That's called a bad relationship.
It's a very bad relationship, Dan. It really is. If you feel uncomfortable at any point, leave the building without speaking to anyone. Make this decision before you arrive at the 10th floor, or it may be too late, and be very sure of where you are at all times. Yeah. So those are the basic rules.
Yeah. And there's a lot of, just like with all the other stories, there's a lot of different interpretations as it has adapted. The original one that I read, and I don't know which version of it was, but when I read it, I want to say like 10 years ago, that was the one where it was the brother trying to find his sister. And that was actually the one that the movie was kind of based off of too. So that's why I was like, oh, that clicked for me. Mm-hmm. But that to me is just like, yeah, it is tempting. Like it's one of those things like an urban legend where you want to play it, you want to see what happens, but you also don't want to actually see what happens because you don't want to be like stuck in that position.
Yeah.
Right there.
Like when you're a kid playing Bloody Mary, but you're playing like this.
Yes. Yeah. Or like our brother Tom. Like
I was gonna say. Sorry, Tom, I'm calling you out.
One day we should have him on so he can actually defend himself.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's just interesting because elevators in general have a lot of phobias about them. Like people are claustrophobic. They're afraid of like elevators falling, being stuck in an elevator. So an elevator in itself is kind of creepy, much less being moved in a direction. Not this way, in a direction.
Like we're not talking about the Great Glass elevator. We're just talking about regular ones.
But to like going around and doors opening, there's a lot of movies like that where you are in an elevator and it takes you to a floor that you're not wanting to go to. Like, let's say you're stuck at the basement. Like, I think it was one of the Annabelle movies, I think, where she kept going back down in the elevator. Like the elevator kept taking her back down to the basement and then the lights were dark and you could see something coming at you. Like elevators in general are just spooky.
there's so many stories out there where the elevator takes you where you were never intended to go. Like it takes you to hell, or it takes you to a haunted basement, or just like a place that necessarily shouldn't even exist. Or like a floor that's been locked for years. Like it really is. And then I just feel like it'd be extra creepy in a mirrored elevator where there's just all these reflections.
So, I mean, aside,
that's the most terrifying elevator there is.
Hell has 4 letters. Work has 4 letters. They're 4-letter words. I mean, there was the movie Devil in 2010. In an elevator. But more recently, there's been, it's not quite creepypasta, but kind of can fit this. Almost like the people that punk others and do practical jokes or pranks and that sort of stuff, but more creepy. You know, and in this particular one, they'll have specialized elevator. I think they had mirrors and stuff where people will be in them, you know, and the elevators aren't really moving, but they'll have like the power goes out for a second. Meanwhile, a false back opens up and some creepy person goes in.
Oh, yes.
I've seen that. And freaks them out. Yeah.
It's like Impractical Jokers or something like that. Yeah. So. They freak out, though. I mean, I would freak out. I would totally freak out. That was just the main story that popped out when we were talking about creepypasta. I was like, oh yeah, the elevator game. So I like that one.
Which I never heard of.
I definitely feel, you know, like, because people actually do go out and like play that game now. Like it's definitely like, and you definitely know stories of like,
what were you saying, Rikki?
Oh, I've never heard of that actually. Before now. This is the first I've heard of it.
The other one is very similar to it, and maybe it's like a theme that I'm into. I don't know. But the other one's called the left-right game. And
I don't remember the details, but I've heard of it, but I don't remember the details of it.
Yeah. So when I worked at a different job where I was on my computer a lot, I had a coworker who would send me creepypastas. He was like, "Oh, you like horror? Here you go." And that's how I got introduced. And so the first one was the elevator, and the second one was this one. And that's why those two stuck out with me. But this one's the left-right game. And basically what's kind of neat about it is when it's uploaded to creepypasta, the version that I read, it was so much that it wasn't the person who was experiencing it wrote it. It was someone else who's like, hey, I heard this is a site to go to when you've like heard about strange things, you know, a cousin of a friend, like one of those stories. So that immediately got my attention. I like those stories. And it was basically about a woman who is she was part of a car caravan to play the left-right game. And it's like a group of cars, and you have to start at a certain point and you have to turn like left, and then you make your next, you turn left. Okay. The mirrored effect is throwing me off. You turn left and then you turn right, and then you go center, and then like you have to follow a certain order of left and right and center things. You stop, Rick. And the whole caravan is doing it. And once again, it takes you into a different dimension of stuff but this one is like a 10-part series, and each story is like a solid, like 20-30 minute read. So it's a very in-depth, I need to look up who wrote it. But they did such a good job at this that it goes into alternate realities. It turns into like, finding your destiny on stuff. It turns into demonic things. Like the creatures that they encounter and the things that happen to people is so creative on how they do it. Like it's an entirely different world where like a tree comes out and engulfs the entire car and pulls it back in, or someone is enchanted by like a fairy that takes them away from their car, or like maybe an old lady is crying on the side of the road and they pull over and be like, hey, are you okay? And they don't realize they're in the other dimension and not their current one. And then the old lady like jaws open up and eats her, you know, like,
okay, this sounds like a fun movie.
But it's a story. I don't think they made a movie. It would be.
I'm just saying, like, you know, Because all the other ones we've talked about have had movies made. And I'm like, where's the movie on this one? Because this sounds fun.
I'm like, please do like a 13 episode
Otherworld
on this. Yeah. So that I think that's why I like about those stories is it's not so much of someone falling into something happening. They are choosing to purposely follow these directions on the chance that it's going to take them to another realm or find out what happens. And it's that want to be safe, but also explore things as well. And it's that uncertainty of what's actually going to happen. You know, is it just a story or is something really going to happen to you?
Yeah.
So those kind of intrigue me a bit.
That reminds me of a game that I read about, and it's driving. It's not specific left, right, but it's like you have to drive a certain distance and like go down a road, like until you find a road that goes into the woods or something like that. And then you go down the road and you have to drive like certain distances at certain speeds. And again, like other dimension kind of thing. So it sounds very similar, just not the exact same directions, but very similar. So
I think we're hitting the 1 hour mark, by the way.
We are, yeah.
We're very close.
That's why I was trying to like sum it up real
Especially
fast.
since we don't know when we started.
Well, it's okay. We're at 56 minutes.
We started 56 minutes ago. We just weren't aware that we were starting when it happened.
I watched my clock. I'm
like that little timer in the corner of our screen kind of tells us.
I'm like, how do you know? Oh my word.
I'm like, even I can see that, Rick.
Well, I think we've concluded that CreepyPasta is a very good outlet for people who have creative minds and for people who want to just read fun, just horror stories. And Rick, your analysis with the spaghetti western, I think that's spot on.
Oh,
like it's just a great place to go to read quick things, except for like the 10-part stuff that you get into. But it's a good way to pass the time as long as people realize that they are stories. And please don't act on them. Like, I don't know if we have to do a disclaimer on this episode. Like, please do not act on these stories.
Are you telling me I shouldn't do the elevator game? What if I want to, though?
Well, your mother's watching, so I'm going to say no. Please do not. Do not activity.
I'll just call her from another dimension, and she'll be like, "What did you do now?"
We'll show up on Christmas lights.
You're like, it's Bethany's fault.
Like, I'm sorry, Mom. I talked to the lady that got out on the 5th floor. Now I'm stuck in a different dimension.
He has a grudge against some people.
Yes.
It'll be fine.
We're fine. I have GPS. We're good.
GPS totally works in between dimensions.
You know what? We don't know. We don't know that.
It could.
It could. It could very well could. You never know. I'm sure there's some interdimensional, demonic, alternate reality service that you can pay for.
Maybe I go into another dimension that's better.
That could, where we all have Wi-Fi.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about other dimensions like they're all bad. There's no way they're all bad. What if I end up in one that I'm just like, so you need to go, and then it will have to be, I'll be like, you need to go to this building, this elevator, do this, and come to this dimension because it's better.
Exactly. Yeah. We don't have taxes at this
kind of like that, but yeah.
Day in the life of Krystal.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the last time I was in the hospital, I called my mom and I was like, I'm in the hospital. And that was literally her reaction. What did you do now?
Well, I think we had a pretty fun episode. It was kind of fun talking about the creepypasta stuff and just kind of doing some fun little going back to our roots of the urban legends and ghost stories. Mm-hmm. I know we have some authors coming up. I'm going to have to look at the dates again. I think we posted, hey, what's up, Doc? What's up, Doc? Sorry.
It didn't even register until you repeated yourself.
I'm like, I suddenly want carrots right now. So I think this
will help you stay awake.
I know, right? I'm sorry. The second we started talking about that, I was like, I'm tired now. I gotta go to bed. But we'll definitely announce the authors that we have coming up. We have a few more authors. We have a few more fun episodes. And just so everyone knows, coming up in October is actually going to be the 5-year anniversary of Weird Realities. So
yay!
Fun. Yep, we're trying to plan something for that. So stay tuned for news on how we can help support that and have just like a fun way of celebrating this great network that brought us together. Stacey's all, thank you for introducing me to a genre.
Hey, Stacey.
So anyway, we will see everyone in 2 weeks at Blondes, Books, and Campfire Tales. And I hope everyone just has like a really good 2 weeks. So
agreed. And be careful if a lady enters the elevator on the 5th floor.
Yeah, please stay away from elevators, Slenderman. Get your sleep in. And
Russians that don't want you to sleep.
Exactly. All right.